So to help me out today, I'm here with Tyson Hackwood. He's the head of the Asia Pacific region for Braintree. Yes, we all know Braintree. It's one of the world's largest online payment providers. And not only is he somewhat of an expert on the evolution of mobile commerce, but he also has an obsession with startup t-shirts. So before we talk about mobile, what's this obsession with t-shirts all about, Tyson?
Look, I love them. I think that if you love your brand and love your business, you shouldn't be backward in coming forward. You should absolutely want to wear that brand every day of the week. For me, I like also supporting all the brands that we work with. So I just like wearing T-shirts. But I love different sorts of startup T-shirts, and I like the ones that make it easy for people to find you in a room. For me, it's easy. 6'3", you'll see me anywhere in a room.
I can imagine. It's also a lifestyle choice as well too. Whether you work for a company where everyone wears ties or everyone wears t-shirts.
Look, absolutely. I've decided at my age that I'll never work for a company again where I can't wear t-shirts to work.
Lovely. Life's too short. So today we're going to talk about the 7 principles for creating a killer mobile experience. What's the first principle? What's step 1?
For me, number 1 is the one-hand experience. You need to be able to do everything with a single hand. You need to be able to navigate, enter detail, interact. You need to be able to do just about, if not everything you need to do with a single hand. The mobile experience is one where you're interacting at all different times of day. Your users, or if you're a business and your customers are interacting with you via a mobile experience, generally they don't have a free hand. So to me, it's all about making sure that you can do and use all the functionality without having to stop and use a second hand.
And there's a really simple action step for people listening to this, and this is put yourself in the shoes of your consumer, which is such a logical, obvious thing, but so few businesses do it. But I know on the weekend I was baking some meringues based on a recipe on my phone. I could only hold that with one hand. I was checking out Facebook on the train the other day. In my other hand, I had my wheelie bag. One hand, so that's the rule. The first step, it has to be done. You have to be able to do it on one hand. Short and sweet. What about step 2?
Look, step 2 is related to that, but that's about, it's using a very old adage of above the fold. So you need to be able to do everything in the screen. So it's one thing to be able to do it one-handed. It's another thing not to require people to scroll up and down to get through your experience. Again, if you can't put your experience succinctly inside the page, I guess the screen dynamic, then again you're asking people to do something else. And again, for that, the moment that you ask them to move up and down the screen, your conversion starts to slip off.
So
it's because you're asking them to do too much.
Would you break your process into smaller steps where there'd be one step per screen?
Yeah, it's that, but it's also building for mobile, only starting with, beginning with the end in mind around mobile. So don't think of repurposing your web experience on the mobile. The worst thing you can do is actually try and replicate. If you look at some of the best experiences on the web, they're then on the mobile. The two experiences are quite unrelated to each other. So again, you've got to talk to your audience. When you've got a very rich screen environment, have rich features. But when you're using the real estate of a device, just make sure people get through the information they need to get through. They're not looking for the flashy colors. They're not looking for all the flashy super functionality. What they're looking for is the ability to interact, get in and get out.
I actually think that a lot of usability experts could take a lot of lessons from the mobile experience, because I know that with one of a recent project that I was involved in, I kept trying to tell my usability experts that I never wanted anyone to need to type anything into a field. If I could avoid anyone typing anything into a field, so it was just click after click after click after click, I knew that I was going to have a good usability experience. And I'm gathering that I probably got that perception from mobile.
Absolutely. I guess what you've done in my books is you've essentially following the leaders.
So if everything has to be above the fold, it's obviously important to identify what is your first priority. And your first priority is probably not your end goal, because your end goal might be a little bit overwhelming, but what's the first priority to get someone engaged with your particular app or M site? All right, so what's the next step? I think I've accidentally segued into the next step. What's the next step?